Welcome to Dave's Arcade. I had a question about testing the knocker on Houdini for coil power. And so what we're going to do for this is I'm just going to take a basic multimeter. I'm going to set it on something that's higher than 48 volts because all coils and American pinball games run off of 48 volts. So I have it set on 200 DC on my multimeter. Okay, so on the left side wall of the inside of the cabinet, you have 3 boards going from left to right. The leftmost one is a switchboard, then you have your P-Rock board, and then this is the add-on board with just accessories for the game. So this leftmost plug, so these are 12 volts. This one's for the start button light. This is for the shaker motor, and then you have 48 volts for the knocker, which is all the way to the right in DRV5. So this is your input on the right hand side of the board. This is coming from your power supply, the brown and black wires, and that is the in feed to the board. And you're going to see when the game is powered up, there will be 2 LED indicators. One is indicating for 12 volts of power, and the other is 48 volts. And then you have the 2 fuses that are 4 amp slow blow on the top of the board. So those are the couple things to check. Now, I'm going to show you, so black is V minus, and brown is V plus. So you can just take your probes and put them into the front of the connector, and then you can power up your game. For this is the input power feed for 48 volts. You can see that mine's actually a bit higher, but anyway, you can see I have voltage going into that board. So now I'm going to shut the game off. So that's DC voltage. You can see it's going to drop down. You wait a little bit for it to dissipate the capacitors in the power supply before you plug it into the board. So it happens pretty quick. Give it a few seconds. You do not want to plug this into the board when it is powered on. You're going to send a surge of power to the board. That is not good. Okay. Now the next thing to check is the power going to the coil itself, and to verify that that is working. So now that you have the connector plugged back into the add-on board on the right hand side, you can unplug this coil, and again, red lead going into the brown and black lead going to the black. You can put it right inside the end of the connector that would be plugged into the coil. Set your multimeter on 200 DC or something that's higher than 48 volts. And now you can turn on the power of the game. And then once it's booted up, we'll go into coil test. You go into tests, and then coils, and then, go into tests, and then cabinet, and then you'll scroll to knocker, and then with the coin door open and the interlock switch pulled out, that will energize 48 volts to the game. And then you can hit the start button to activate the knocker. And you just You need to make sure that you have good connection on these probes, and then just hit the start button, and you'll see, just push it a bunch of times fast, and you'll see that it has the numbers moving on your display. So keep in mind that the test is a momentary pulse of power. You're not going to get the full hit of power. It doesn't hit and stay on. So you need to hit the start button really fast, like you're hitting a Street Fighter 2 button or something. Okay, so that's power for that. Now let's test the coil itself. Put your multimeter to 200 ohms, and what you're going to do is put your probes on the coil itself. Just touch it to the probes, and you should get, so I'll show you here, about 4 ohms is what you're getting. So that is telling me that the coil is good. Lastly, let's inspect the board. Make sure that the fuses are good. Put your multimeter on diode test or tone, continuity test, and just touch the ends of the fuses. Make sure that those are good, and you're getting a tone. Now, when you fire up the game, you should see on the right hand side of the board that you're getting 2 LEDs. The topmost one going to the yellow and black 12 volt, and the bottom one going to 48 volt, indicating that you have power going to that board. Lastly, I will also say, take a look at the ribbon cable connection. I've had this happen before where it wasn't connected to the right position. So look at your P-Rock board. It should be at the bottommost plug with the red stripe going to the left, and make sure that this is centered on the pins. Otherwise, it's not going to get communication to your board, and therefore your knocker and your shaker and that won't have communication to turn on.